This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
My name is Ryan Pack,
And I'm Nicole Barlow.
and this is Soundcheck Your Life, where we speak with a guest about a soundtrack that is important to them. Today, our guest is musician Reeya Banerjee. Welcome, Reeya.
Hi.
So, Reeya has a new album out called This Place. It was released a few weeks ago of this recording back in August. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your new album?
Let's see. It is, yes, what came out just about 3 weeks ago. It's my second album of original music. How would I describe it? This is gonna sound very pretentious. It's like a geography of identity. It's a map, but in songs. I moved around a lot as a child, and then I came to New York for college, and then I stuck around there for 20 years, but moved all over the state. So it's kind of every song is about either a place I lived, for, either for a significant chunk of time or a short amount of time, but enough that it made an impression on me, and just sort of how these places have marked me and changed me and made me who I am, and just, this how geography, and not just like geography like landscape, but just the people you meet and the stories that happen to you when you're there, how they kind of imprint on your life and make you who you are. So it's 9 songs, 9 locations, starting with childhood in Washington, D.C., and ending with almost middle age in upstate New York. And yeah, I'm super proud of it. This is the best work that I have ever done in my short so far music career. So I'm very excited about it, and people seem to be responding really well to it. One of the singles that we put out before it was released, is called Upstate Rust. The music video for that has something like 235,000 views on YouTube. I don't even know how something like that can happen. I don't have a label. I don't have a manager. I'm a DIY, unlabeled, fake it as I make it kind of person. And so I'm grateful that people like that song. I don't really know what the special sauce is with that music video, but I'll take it. Very grateful for that. So it's been fun. It's been fun. But I love talking about other people's music too. And I studied film in college, so your podcast is very much of a pace of the way my brain works. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you're also a really wonderful and accomplished writer. I think we have a lot of the same hyperfixations. So,
Mhm.
really encourage people to check out your writing and your writing site as well. I really
Yeah.
enjoy going through it.
Oh yeah, all that story screen stuff. Oh, and that's terrible. I haven't updated my website in a while. I've got some more pieces I should put up there, but
Okay, don't go until she's had a chance to update it. I think
there's enough up there that you can keep yourself busy while I'm on Squarespace trying to be like, "Oh." So
Yeah, the new album is great. I was a little surprised. I think in a lot of your press photos, it's just like you on an acoustic guitar, and it's a much more rockin' record than I
Yeah.
was expecting. To quote the legendary rapper Shaquille O'Neal, I apologize, I was not familiar with your game.
That's all good, and that's a wonderful person you have quoted as well. Yeah, no, that's funny. That picture of me with the guitar is, I'm not even that good of a guitar player. I'm a bass player. So that photo is slightly misleading in many ways. But yeah, no, it's very much like power pop, post grunge, that kind of uh early to mid 90s sort of, like I grew up listening to, like uh, Foo Fighters and Matchbox 20 and stuff like that on the radio. That's sort of very much what my musical sound is, or like what my, like what formed my musical identity. Just a little too young for Nirvana, but still love Nirvana, but that kind of post Nirvana um music movement. So that's kind of where I live sonically, but I'm not, I'm 40 years old. I'm not trying to be retro. I'm just trying to be. I think isn't that a thing in the movie? I'm not, it's not, it wasn't retro then, it's nowtro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now
I'm
true.
already going down the road there. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to be ironically retro or anything like that. I'm just, taking the sounds that I love and just putting them forward and making them my own. So, but yeah, I'm definitely not a folkie with an acoustic guitar. So,
Yeah, so you can find the album digitally wherever you listen to your music,
hmm Yep.
and Bandcamp as well if you want to support Reeya,
Yep.
because streams pay nothing.
Yep. Good 13 cents a year or something like that from Spotify. So yeah, if you want to throw more money my way, I will not complain.
So, Reeya, today you have chosen a great film, the 2003 Christopher Guest film, A Mighty Wind. And why did you pick A Mighty Wind for us?
Number one, I just think that this is a great movie. I think this is a hot take. I actually posted this. I posted this on Threads, which is not even a platform that I spent that much time on, but I posted it on Threads as a throwaway one night. I was just like, hot take. This is Christopher Guest's favorite film. It is the most engagement I've ever gotten on that platform, and I've been promoting an album this entire year. And like hundreds of people came out and were like, "Oh my God, hard agree. Yes, no, best in show. Wait, what about Waiting for Goffman?" I was like, this is crazy, but a lot of people seem to really agree with me. I think that this is Christopher Guest's best film. Also, I just think that it is incredible. It's a movie about folk music. The entire soundtrack is original songs written by the cast, and they all sound completely authentically like, it's not a joke. Like these are all like legitimately like songs that could have been actual real folk songs in the 60s. Like there's no false note. There's no, like it's I think there's only one line in the song A Mighty Wind that's like a throwaway joke at the very, very end. But everything else is completely straight. It's like a straight up folk album if you listen to the soundtrack. And I think that that's incredible that they put that much time and effort into it. They're all singing for themselves too. I mean, like, it's just, everybody knows that that company of actors is super ridiculously talented, and this is just like next level. I remember I was so blown away when the movie was in the theaters. I was like, I can't believe they did all this. So I love the music. I love the movie. I think the storyline is great. I think Mitch and Mickey's storyline in particular is my favorite. I think that's the one that keeps bringing me back to the movie. This is one of my comfort food movies. Just want to if I just want to feel good, I'll throw it on and watch it. And yeah, I think that that's the beating heart of the movie is the two of them. So yes, I love it. And I think Christopher Guest is brilliant. I love Waiting for Goffman. I love Best in Show, obviously. I think that's probably, anybody who's seen that loves that movie. It's impossible not to like that movie. And of course, Spinal Tap. We were talking about that before we started recording. The Spinal Tap sequel is coming out soon, so I'm excited about that. But I really do. It's funny. Spinal Tap is technically a Rob Reiner film, so I often, like, I don't know. I would say that's why I say I think A Mighty Wind is Christopher Guest's best film. If I had to include Spinal Tap in there, I might have a little bit of a tough call which one is better. But yeah, that's a long way of saying exactly why I like this movie.
Well, I
So,
think those are all wonderful reasons, and I think that you pointed out something that, the Oscars obviously keyed
yeah,
into, right? That
yeah,
the songcraft in this movie and the performances are actually really incredible and
yeah.
really legit. In the 2020 article, Rolling Stone Australia actually put the Folksmen, which is Shearer, McKean, Guest, fake folk trio, at number 5 on the list of 25 greatest fake movie bands, and Spinal Tap is number 1.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, if you're making a listicle about, like, all-time best fake movie groups, this
Right,
is definitely in that conversation.
right. I read somewhere that when like Spinal Tap, when they were doing like the Spinal Tap tour, they would have the three of them come on as the Folksmen as the opening act, and the audience
Yeah.
would be like, "Boo! Get off stage! We don't want to hear this." It's the same three actors. Nobody knew. Uh,
Right.
I love that story. It's just they're like, it was us the whole time, but like,
Yeah, apparently that was some kind of experimental thing that they did in 1980s Saturday Night Live,
yeah,
where they were kind of testing this mockumentary thing for Spinal Tap, and then the Folksmen would be like the, totally wrong opening act for Spinal
right,
Tap, which is
right,
really funny.
yeah,
The three of them, I think, have also said that they were posing for pictures for Spinal Tap, and they were in, like, their street clothes, and
mhm.
then I guess somebody commented that they looked like a washed-up folk trio, and then that's kind of how that was, like, the genesis of, "Okay, we should make A Mighty Wind. We should actually make an entire movie dedicated to folk music." I feel like I wanna ask you both, I hadn't watched this in a while, and I went into it thinking that it was maybe a little bit more of a biting satire or a parody of folk music, and it's really not, it's actually very sweet. It's
It is.
it has, like, a
Very
lot of
sweet,
heart.
it's very earnest, it's very,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, no, it is a very, very sweet that's a great way to put it. It's like it's probably his sweetest film. And it's so funny, but it's just, like, it's very, very earnest and very pure and very, just, like it's like a big hug in movie form, I don't know.
Yeah, having just come off of seeing Spinal Tap 2, thank you, Bleecker Street, for sending us to the IMAX experience for Spinal
Oh,
Tap
I'm so
2.
jealous,
Really
I am
it
so
was really
jealous.
fun and really
Can't wait
great.
to see it, yeah.
But, that being such a send up of heavy metal, I think I was
Mhm.
expecting some similar tones to this movie that I hadn't seen in a while. Ryan, were you surprised that this movie is so sort of poignant and sweet and lovely?
Yeah, and I remember when the movie was released, it didn't get, like, rave reviews like the previous guest films because I think critics were confused by, like, how
I think
it
so
doesn't
too.
have teeth, right? Like,
Yeah,
they're used to him sending things up, and this was not a send up, so I think a lot of the reviews were like, "I guess, like, it's not as funny as I thought it was gonna be, it wasn't as biting as I thought it was gonna be," and I think people have appreciated it more as they look back on it,
I think
but I
so
think
too.
I remember a lot of that confusion of, like, it's actually very earnest and,
Yeah,
they're not fucking with folk music, it's like an homage to
exactly.
folk music.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and then when you think about the Christopher Guest film that came immediately prior was Best in Show, which is just like a
Right.
bonkers movie. It's just like
Right.
it's just it's wild. So when it's like a huge like you're going from that and then you go to A Mighty Wind and if you go in there like I feel like a lot of people who maybe weren't familiar with I mean, Waiting for Guffman I think is a movie that like it's funny that that's, like, the first Christopher Guest movie that's out there because I feel like Waiting for Guffman, if I was trying to introduce people to Christopher Guest as a filmmaker, I would say start with Best in Show,
Mhm.
then go to Waiting for Guffman, and you'll kinda get, like, okay, here's where he's a little bit weirder. I'd slip Spinal Tap in there somewhere, and then I'd be like, "And now go to A Mighty Wind," and you'll kinda get the full picture. I think Best in Show is, like, the gateway drug for Christopher Guest
Yeah.
movies because it is the most accessible. But it's just balls out. It's insane. It is an insane movie. I love it, but it is just like it is so, so over the top funny, and I think people were probably remembering that coming into A Mighty Wind and then being like, "Huh, this is very subdued in comparison to, just like the extremely wacky hijinks, that happen in Best in Show." So, yeah, I think I agree, Ryan. I think I remember critics being just kind of like, "Hmm, okay, well, we liked it, but this wasn't really what we were expecting it to be."
Yeah, but what happened?
Yeah, what happened? It's one of my favorite and I love Fred Willard, but this is one of my favorite Fred Willard performances as well. Just sort of I don't know. It's
Just
like
his appearance with, like, the frosted tips and stuff.
Frosted Tips. The Frosted Tips, I would also argue that Jennifer Coolidge has a really great, if small amount of screen time.
yeah,
God.
Her trying to hum, there's that
yeah,
thing where they do a toast to the guy's father, and he says, "I think we should all hum in honor of my
yeah,
father," and her humming involves her just inflated lips being, like, open, so she's
yeah.
humming with her mouth open. I can't adequately describe it, but it is.
And her slipping in that thing about the model trains for the
The
big
model
train.
trains!
Oh,
They
yes.
must have gotten the idea for the big trains. We have the small trains. Incredible.
Yeah,
Just a great ensemble. I mean, there's so much joy in just watching these people improv
yeah,
that, you almost kind of don't care what they're doing, but the level of craft and care put into building this fake folk musical world is really pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no,
The
I mean, and they
soundtrack's deep. There's a lot of work put into these
yeah.
songs.
Yeah, I mean, the song and then also just, like, getting all of, like, making all those old, like, record covers and
Yeah.
archival footage and, like, de-aging everybody and making it look, like it looks authentic, it doesn't look cheesy. But no, I mean, like, the songs itself, like, it's really a shame that this song doesn't get a lot of, airtime in the movie, so to speak, but the Mitch and Mickey song, "When I'm Standing Next to You," I think that that is, like, a genuinely like, that could have been on the charts, like, a folk song, and it's if it had gotten more prominent placement in the movie, I almost wonder if that would have gotten nominated for an Oscar over the Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, because I think
Yeah.
when it comes to which is a more authentic folk song, I would argue that When I'm Standing Next to You is not I mean, although Kiss at the End of the Rainbow, how can you not love that? So, I remember being very sad that they didn't win the Oscar for that because I was hoping for I was hoping for that to happen.
Yeah, that was great. They were nominated for the 2004 Best Original Song.
Yep.
They did not win, but they did get to perform it at the ceremony. I was watching that before we started
Oh,
recording,
yeah. Yeah,
and
I remember that, yeah.
they performed it in character.
Yep.
Mitch walks onto stage, says thank you, and then says on drums, and then looks back and then realizes there's no drummer.
So funny.
Completely perfect. So the song is actually written by Michael McKean and his wife Annette O'Toole.
Yep.
Um, typically, like in the soundtrack, whoever performs the song usually wrote the song, but in this case, it was Michael McKean and his wife who wrote it for Eugene and Catherine O'Hara.
Mhm.
The song "A Mighty Wind," which closes the show, which is the whole ensemble, that actually won a Grammy in 2004.
That's right, I forgot that,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
won over "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
What?
No, it didn't.
It
That's
did.
crazy.
It
That's
was up
wild.
against Ludacris's "Act a Fool" from Too Fast, Too
No, it was
Furious,
not.
"Lose Yourself" from 8 Mile, "I Move On" from Chicago, and "The Hands That Built America" by U2 from Gangs of New York.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
I can't believe it won against Lose Yourself, and I
Me
love Lose
neither.
Yourself. Lose Yourself is an amazing so that's I didn't realize that it was number 1, I forgot that it was the same year, but number 2, like, wow, what? Like, that's crazy.
So good for you, Christopher Guest Ensemble. You took out "Lose Yourself."
Yeah.
Like, "Lose Yourself" was one of those, like, "Oh, if it's in the category, it's gonna win that year," sort of
Yeah,
songs. Like, it
yeah,
was,
yeah. I mean, it
you
went
know
that it won the Oscar that year, didn't it? That was that the year
I
wait,
think it was the 2005.
2000 oh, yeah, there's always a little with the Grammy, the way the awards are staggered and stuff like that, yeah,
Yeah, I think A Mighty Wind got knocked out by, The Return of the King. It was that one year where, like, Return of the King just won
Yeah.
everything.
And it's an Annie
oh,
Lennox song, I believe, from Return of the King
oh,
that they
right,
lost
right, right,
to,
right.
which, again, I think I read a piece with them where they were like, "Well, it's kinda cool to be in a category with" I think it was Annie Lennox, Sting, a couple
Mhm.
of other really heavy hitters. So, this was a year where you had huge legacy artists in the category of Best Original Song, so a pretty big compliment to have something like this on here. I think it's also really cool that Catherine O'Hara learned to play the auto harp
I know,
specifically for this
right?
movie, because what a weird kind of
I was
semi
gonna say
career.
very random instrument to learn.
Right. For like, specifically for this role and to be able to sell, this song and this folk duo,
Mhm.
there's something, again, I think incredibly heartfelt and sweet in the way that they are portrayed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not played strictly for laughs, it's kind of poignant.
Yeah, I was, when I think about their storyline, like, I mean, we all know the basic Christopher Guest template for these movies is like, they have the outline, they know what's gonna happen, and then he's just, like, okay, this is gonna happen this scene, and then he lets him improv. Like that's kind of how he rolls. And what I noticed, and then I think they've confirmed this in interviews I've read since then, they didn't Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara have, like, when they were improvising their scenes, they were not trying to make jokes. They were playing it completely straight. They were just like, okay, we are these characters with this kind of painful backstory, and they're gonna play it like they're not trying to insert jokes or funny stuff. I mean, like, if there's funny stuff, it's because Mitch is a little bit, like, kooky, and he's down there looking at the trains with
because people are having sex next door to him.
right. Exactly, yeah. But it's like, they're not trying to, like, make weird, like, whereas, like, the new Main Street Singers, like, there's, like, thousands and thousands of, like, wacky jokes that are being made in the course of, those scenes, and even the Folksmen to an extent. But, like Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara play it completely straight, and I think that's what makes it work, is that, like, they're playing their story completely straight. Their story is poignant and a little sad, and it gets counterbalanced by all the kind of, like, funnier stuff around them, but that's also what makes the stakes of their storyline feel so high. Even though, like, the stakes, like, at the end of the day, the stakes are like, are they gonna kiss on stage or not? But you're just kinda like, "Oh my god, are they gonna kiss?" And, like, that's, like, the whole climax of the movie is that moment,
Yeah.
and you get really, really invested in it, and I think it's because they've, like, they didn't make it funny. They made it human.
Yeah, and when Mitch disappears, I think you expect that to be sort of a comic moment where he disappears into the streets of New York City.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah.
comes back with this single red rose for her, and they decide to, go through with the performance and have the kiss, and it's really very sweet.
Yeah.
It's a sweet moment. It's a sweet culmination of that story. I think we'd be remiss though if we didn't go back to the new Main Street Singers who are played mostly for laughs, even though
Yeah.
they're very much like patterned after real stuff in the folk scene.
Yeah.
Um, Jane Lynch and Parker Posey in this group
Yes.
are so hilarious. That performance in the concert of Potatoes in the Paddy Wagon where they're
That
doing these
song
dips
is
and
insane
following these like
too.
facial
Yeah.
expressions, amazing, incredible.
That song is so weird. I love that song, but I'm just like, why is the girl Potato? Why is that her name? What is going on? Like, what is actually the story of this song? I don't really understand what's going on.
Well, you
Um,
don't understand because you're not a witch.
oh, that's true. I'm not I'm
You're
not
not a
a
wink.
I'm not a wink.
Mhm.
Which is in what is it? Which is in nature's color? Is that what I can't remember what the abbreviation
I
is. I
believe
just
it's nature, nature or natural. I think it's
natural
nature's color.
nature's color, yeah. So, I mean, the other thing I note about the new Main Street Singers too is that John Michael Higgins did all of the vocal arrangements for them. So that all that 9-part harmony, like, again, we're talking about, like, the amount of work and effort they went into, like, making these sounds authentic, and then also just, like, like, the depth of talent that the cast has. Like, I didn't, like, I'm a musician. I can maybe arrange a 3-part harmony. I don't know how you can sit down and do, like, okay, a 9-part harmony. It sounds good. It works on stage. It's so, I mean, like, it's complicated. And so, yeah, I'm kind of blown away by that too, because they sound really good.
Me
The
too.
idea of a 9-part group sounds like insanity to me, but then it works. So yeah, again, I mean, I guess again, this all kind of falls into, like, categories or reasons why I think this movie is just exceptional in so many ways. Just the effort that they went into making the music good. So I feel like if the music wasn't good, then the movie wouldn't work either. It would just be kind of like, you know, flat.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Right, and even with their covers, right? Like they do a song, "Never Did No Wandering." There's a Folksmen version
Oh yeah.
and a new Main Street Singers version. So
Right.
to
Right.
differentiate those enough where like you can tell like this is how this band would play it and how this other band would play it, like that takes a lot of thought.
Right. Right. Exactly. I think there's also on the soundtrack there's a Folksman cover of "Start Me Up" by the Rolling Stones. Am I remembering that correctly? I
You are
haven't.
remembering that correctly.
Yeah. I mean, I it didn't get any airtime in the movie, but I remember when I got the soundtrack and I was listening to it, it took me a second to understand what I was listening to, and I was like, "What?" It's really funny, but it's also just like, where did this come from? So, yeah, no, it's I don't know. I'm just gonna keep repeating myself over and over again, but just I'm blown away by the sheer amount of effort that they took to make this authentic, to make this feel like an authentic group of folk singers reuniting. Bob Balaban is like a national treasure. I don't know.
Yes.
He's so funny. And Bigley Jr. also. He's just the Swedish NPR guy who's speaking in Yiddish for reasons unknown to man, but it's just
Can you get a crane in here?
Yeah.
I can call a guy. Balaban when he's on the stage and like not understanding like 3 dimensions and
Yeah, and he's
the
like,
furniture.
is this the furniture? Is it okay to have like a real street light with a fake furniture? And the guy finally just smacks him on the head, just like
Yeah.
getting
And you can
obsessed
just see the
over
amount of contempt on the guy's face.
it. Yeah, exactly.
We do this all the time. Don't worry about it. It's not called furniture.
Yeah, there are so many, like, small delights in this movie. I also feel like this is a good one if you're a big fan of Harry Shearer's baritone because you get a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
punctuating all of these songs. I particularly love it in the Old Joe's Place song, which is it's the sort of, like, Old MacDonald riff that
Yeah,
they have,
And it's
uh
their big hit.
it's a big hit, yeah.
and it's their big hit, right? So, that I feel like is completely hilarious. Part of me wants to make a Spotify fake folk playlist that has this and the songs from Inside Llewyn Davis on it. Maybe all the Timmy Chalamet
Oh,
covers
yeah.
from The Complete
No,
Unknown.
no. We
Maybe
don't
the
need the
Right,
Chalamet.
no, we can leave out the Chalamet. No,
but
put it in.
definitely the Llewyn Davis, that's a I mean, that's another movie where they took the time and care to make the folk music sound like the
Yeah.
authentic folk music.
I feel like you wouldn't have Adam Driver saying "outer space" without her and his contributions to the Folksmen, you know?
Right,
Is it
right.
bad that I like fake folk more than I like regular folk?
No, I
It's
don't think
bad,
that's
I
weird
feel the
at all.
same way. It's not bad at all. I mean, I should maybe not admit that out loud I'm friends to many folk musicians, but maybe I shouldn't have said that, but that's how I
Maybe you
feel.
should tell them to make some fake folk music.
I
It'll come out better.
Do your own version of the Mighty Wind soundtrack, yeah.
Yeah, do in the style of folk music.
Yeah.
So, do you know of any of these folk bands that the cast is kind of modeling themselves after? Like I've heard the Folksmen is modeled after the Kingston Trio,
That's
and Mitch
yep.
and Mitch and Mickey are based off of Ian and Sylvia.
Ian and Sylvia, that I didn't know. I'm not that much of a folkie, so I don't necessarily know. I know the Folksmen and the Kingston Trio, that's a pretty, a pretty easy corollary. I mean, was there ever a folk group that had 9 people in it, or is that just a completely insane super concept
So
that
the new Main Street Singers, it said they were kind of based off of multiple different bands. One of them called the New Christie Minstrels, which sounds very like if
Mhm.
you said the New Christie Minstrels, I was like, yeah, they kind of look like a band that would be called the New Christie
Yeah.
Minstrels. But I think they were more of a composite sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that the story in the movie is that, like, the original Main Street Singers basically were because there was a folk group of 5 and a folk group of 4, like, jamming together, and they were like, "Oh, this sounds good. Let's
It was
become a
a
super
Brady
group."
Bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think what the joke is too is partly that there were some people in the New Christie Minstrels like Kenny Rogers that were not necessarily following some kind of straight and narrow, right path. And so I think that's sort of where the Jane Lynch jokes come from, where, we
Oh,
find out
yeah.
like she was like doing porn before she was saved by this 9-piece folk
Yeah.
group.
That
So that's definitely a real thing, and I think that's also where kind of the love and the craft comes in, is that you can't parody something this deep and this hard without an actual love and knowledge of that genre.
of course, yeah. the monologue she get when we meet her and was it Terry Boner and what's her name? I can't. He's Terry. I can't remember her name. Anyway, Jane Lynch and John Michael Higgins. The monologue she gives where she's he's already explained his backstory and how, he grew up in a house where there was abuse and it was musical in nature and just this,
Yes.
like
Musical in nature is the greatest
exactly.
phrase.
And then she explains like she came from a very different path and she does like this very long monologue about like the porn that she was in and the different what made her distinctive. And then she was like, and then just like, and then there's like this cut where she goes, and of course I always loved to sing. And it's just such a non sequitur. And it just like cracks me up. It's like, oh, that's her way of being like, and this is why I'm in this folk group now. But it's just like the complete non sequitur of like, okay, these are all the movies that I did. And then, oh, and of course, I always loved to sing. So then, that's how I ended up in the group. I'm just like, it's just completely out of left field. It's so funny. I don't know.
Yeah, her character is Lori Boner.
Lori, there we go. Terry and Lori. Terry and Lori.
Harry and
Boner.
Lori Boner.
And I think at one point, they're like, they have this candle in the dressing room, and he's like,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
and he goes, it's a penis.
Yeah.
And you're like not expecting that, but also kind of expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm never against Fred Willard in a Christopher Guest film, but his character as being like this washed up sitcom star who now kind of manages them.
Yeah, exactly. And is always trying to like relive his glory days from like the sitcom he was on that lasted like 2 episodes on TV, and he's trying to make those catchphrases still happen. But he's,
He tells a story about introducing them and making all the folkies mad with his jokes, because I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty funny. They didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, how do they even come up with this character? Like, oh, so who manages this band now? Like, oh, it should be like this washed up sitcom actor.
I mean, on some level it makes sense because they're this very, of the 3 acts, they're like the most commercial, maybe cheesy, like, I mean, I think the joke that the Folksmen make in there, like Harry Shearer goes, is like, oh yeah, because the whole thing was the new Main Street Singers come out, and they start with Never Did No Wandering, which the Folksmen were planning to do on their set, and they're just kind of like, ah, damn it. And then Harry Shearer was like, well, we should do it anyway, and we should ask people to choose. Do you want a toothpaste commercial or do you want like a real folk song? And they're like, no, that's not a good idea to do on TV. You can't do the same folk song twice in one broadcast, even on PBS. But yeah, it's like on some level, I guess it makes sense that like this sort of, reboot of an old folk group that's like supposed to be very cheesy and commercial and like palatable to larger audiences would end up being managed by like this dude because, like that's the kind of guy who'd be like that's in there doing gigs at like Six Flags in Tallahassee or something.
Exactly.
Know?
Yeah, and I think you're
And on
meant
cruises.
And on
Yeah,
cruises. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Cruises, the Orange County Fair kind of vibe. I think you're meant to believe that these are groups that never really got truly famous, that maybe had a
Yep.
moment a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
moment has long since evaporated. So that's why you see the new Main Street Singers, at Six Flags Tallahassee-esque, like that whole setting.
Yeah.
That's why, at the end when Mickey goes back to music, she's just playing the auto harp at the Catheter
Oh yeah, at the
convention at
convention.
the trade show for
In
Right.
her husband's booth.
Yeah,
her
exactly.
husband's catheter booth. So
That always
uh,
struck me as like it's funny, but it's also so sad
it's
too that
sad.
she's like, I'm a musician again. I'm like, oh honey, like I don't know about that, but like if that's it's sweet, but it's also sad that she's like, okay, I found my way back to music again, but she's singing songs about catheters at her at her husband's booth at the medical convention. But yeah, no, and then like the folksmen are just doing like casinos in upstate New York or something, which is like also kind of kind of hysterical. I mean, I lived in upstate New York for a long time, so like but at the end, the punchline when the 3 of them are like doing their last interview and they're like at some casino in Saranac Lake, which is near Lake Placid. I'm just kind of like, oh, I know where that is, and
I've
that's
been
so
there.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, and that's so sad that that's where they're getting their gig. That's so sad. But yeah, I mean, like they all get to they're grabbing their second 15 minutes of fame, or I guess with the new Main Street Singers get a sitcom, which
Right, about the Supreme Court.
yeah, yeah.
I thought there was 12, but maybe there's just 9. But
For
there's 9
budget
people in the band.
yeah. Like, I don't know if that changed, if that's a budget reason, but I guess there's 9 now, so there's 9 people in the band. No, and I love the, when they show, like, clips of that sitcom too, and it's like they're all sitting there on the bench, and Parker Posey's, like, knitting. She's a Supreme Court justice and will send you cases, but she's also knitting and shaking her head like, oh, guys," and then they go home and they play folk music. I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
they all live in the same house.
yeah,
They
yeah.
play folk music.
Exactly.
The 1990s. My very favorite decade, especially for music. This is Dope Nostalgia, and I'm your host, Naomi Carmack. And every week, we revisit the era that brought us Hammer Pants, Crystal Pepsi, Pogs, Hypercolor, Pokemon, and some of the greatest songs of all time. On Dope Nostalgia, not only do I have episodes where I talk about the big artists of the 90s with friends, but sometimes those big artists come on the show. Past guests include Naughty by Nature, George Lamond, Alana Miles, Color Me Bad, Biff Naked, Ed the Sock, Shakespeare's Sister, Two Unlimited, The Funky Bunch, Technotronic, Rosala, Tara Kemp, Mr. Big, Honeymoon Suite, Right Said Fred, and so many more. You can always leave us a voicemail and tell us what you think, and we'll play it on the show. 780-851-8785. Dope Nostalgia, a podcast made for 90s kids like me. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, Stitcher, and wherever podcasts are served.
I'm very jealous, by the way, that you guys got to see Spinal Tap 2. I have not. I'm waiting to do that as well, but I won't ask you to spoiler it for me, but
I don't want to spoil this, but
yeah.
it's semi-related to Mighty Wind. I feel like Fred Willard's character. There's a character in This Is Spinal Tap 2 that is very similar, where he kind of comes in to help the band as like kind of like a manager, but cares nothing about the music. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. I will wait to see it.
Yeah, actually, the template, the basic template that they get to improv around is sort of similar to A Mighty Wind in that the premise is that they're building to a concert. They're
Oh, like a
building
reunion concert kind
a
of thing.
reunion.
Okay.
I don't think that's spoiling anything really.
Okay.
But is
Yeah.
that that's the plot. That's what's driving it.
Yeah. But there is a manager who feels very similar, like not from a sitcom, but also is just like, why aren't you guys dancing? Don't people like dance now on stage? And they're like, we're a metal band, things like that. Yeah. So the Folksmen, I know we talked about the origin of them as an opening act for Spinal Tap, but I guess the genesis of the Folksmen was Michael McKean was the guest host for Saturday Night Live. Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer are part of the cast.
That's right.
And they're just like, well, we can't keep on doing like Spinal Tap sketches. And they're like, so they invented the Folksmen, and the Folksmen kind of became its own thing. And Christopher Guest said the original kind of concept for Mighty Wind was going to be just a documentary about the Folksmen and like their story.
Oh, okay. And then they realized that was, I mean, that could be funny, but then they realized they could pull back the story a little bit and tell a bigger story.
Yeah, it'd probably be a little too much like, oh, it's folk, this is Spinal Tap. And I
right.
didn't want that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, but especially since it's the same 3 actors. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that would be.
And I think it's better for it. Like you get to unleash the ensemble that everybody loves.
Of course. Yeah. No, I feel like if you were to just limit it to the Folksmen, I don't know how you'd lose so many other of that ever growing company of actors that he leans on. So
Yeah, and folk as a genre is obviously so much more subdued, so there are maybe not quite as many obvious sight gags or, jokes that you can mine from it beyond a certain point. But when you put the ensemble into this movie, I think it makes a very rich tapestry of fake
Absolutely.
fans that you get very invested in, that you really feel
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I actually I'm invested in their backstories." I found myself getting, like, way too invested in Mitch and Nikki's romantic
I
backstory
know, me
that you
too. I
never
just
get to
really
find out about, you know?
that's I mean, and I mean, like, and I think that's again, like, that's I feel like that's what makes that storyline and what makes the movie work is just like you get very, very, you know, like there's some really, really like very poignant and sad moments, like where, like Mickey's talking about like, oh, I think the reason why we became famous is because we were like some sort of like depiction of like young, true, pure love or whatever. And everyone bought into that and I bought into it too. That's probably why I was able to sell it so well. And I was just like, oh man, that's a really heavy thing to drop in your
Yeah,
first talking head in the in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, but like yeah, just like lots of really, really very kind of, like poignant and bittersweet and, like and then I'm like and then also like Mickey's a mess. Not Mickey, well, Mickey is a
Mitch.
mess, but Mitch is, like obviously very trouble. I mean, at the end, I think he's back in the
In the
mental
mental institution,
institution.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's feeling very inspired and writing songs and stuff, but he's not really he can't live out in the world. And that's also kind of,
But
it's
he
also
does get the victory of like, "Oh, I didn't feel anything from that kiss."
right. 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 I do think that's funny at the end that both of them think that the other one misunderstood the the kiss and they're worried about, did I hurt her feelings or did I lead him on or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a very, very well done, bittersweet, sad, funny, but sad, ultimately it's a very sad story. I don't know. Like I love it, but it's just like it's sad.
Yeah, there's a bit of melancholy to it that I think, other Christopher Guest movies don't have, which,
Yeah,
is it makes it distinct, I think, in his canon.
absolutely. Absolutely.
There
Yeah.
is a really funny moment though after they do the kiss and then they go to the crowd who's going wild. Even her husband is like clapping and I thought that like maybe he gets like this is just part of the act, but he's like
Yeah.
cheering and standing up, Mr. British train guy.
Yeah.
Sure. He's just a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
Like, he's not worrying about anyone leading each other on. He's like, that was great.
the mayor of Crabville was it Crabville or Crabtown?
I
His
think it's Crabtown, right?
Crabtown,
He
and
was
oh,
very
yeah,
specific about it's Crabtown, not
Yeah, I
Crab.
think I think Mitch calls it
calls it Crabville.
Crabville
That's
and he
the
takes offense to it.
that's a big faux pas right there, yeah.
Yeah, I where would we rank this in terms of, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara's coupled performances?
Oh,
Because we have Schitt's Creek, we have this, we have Best in Show.
yeah,
Where are we ranking it? Where are we putting it? Because really, this is a power couple we're talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah, I mean they're even kind of paired together in Waiting for Guffman, even though it's not
Yes.
like a romantic pairing.
Yes. Like, they're so
true.
wonderful in everything they do, but I'm just curious what you think about where you would rank this.
I feel like I don't know, I'm biased because this is my favorite Christopher Guest film, but I think this is my favorite this is my favorite screen couple version of them. I mean, the 2 of them in Best in Show, though, are hysterical as well. And
To
there
the
is some
fate.
singing exactly. There's some
I could
singing in
talk all day about God Loves a Terrier. I feel
oh,
like God
yeah.
Loves a Terrier as a throwaway song enters my brain space, like, once a month. That's how much I love Best in Show, just as a, like, a feel-good movie, but it's, like, my funny feel-good movie. I absolutely
Yeah,
love Best in Show.
yeah. No, I do too. Best in Show is I mean, Best what's funny about Best in Show is that was when I first kind of became aware of because Waiting for Guffman, I was thinking about this. Waiting for Guffman cast-wise was actually pretty small. Best in Show is when, like, I became, like I was like, "Oh, Jennifer Coolidge, okay, I know that she's more than just, like, Stifler's mom," and then, like, Jane Lynch, I had no idea who Jane Lynch was until I saw that movie, and then I was just kind of like, she's brilliant, and then she Glee and everything else, and now she's super famous. John Michael Higgins, again, another person who, like, I was not necessarily aware of who he was, and he's so, so funny in that, so I think that Best in Show is like a a moment where, because the story, like the story necessitated having so many characters, Christopher Guest was able to bring in more guns than, he had in Waiting for Goffman, and I think that actually makes this story just like not only more funny, but also just like introduces you to a bunch of, like actors that I would not have. I'm telling you, like, I would not have known who Jane Lynch was if I hadn't seen Best in Show. So
Yeah, I'm always sad for people that only know Jane Lynch from Glee,
yeah,
because
me
there's a
too.
contingent of people that only know Jane Lynch from Glee, and she has such a wonderful career and is so
Yeah,
great in a lot of things.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think this is also one of those films. It's really impressive in the way that it's made, and to bring that ensemble together to play instruments, some of which they've never played before, you
right.
know, and to do it all live without lip syncing to pre-recorded tracks, which seems like the way that they went about it, is
Yeah,
really rare. And I think really just speaks to a lot of like love that the cast had putting into this. And I think it's that love that you can sort of feel when you watch it.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it is also, I mean, it's if I feel like it's very Christopher Guest also to be like, nope, we're gonna do it live, and we're gonna learn how to, you're gonna learn how to play the auto harp, or I'm gonna learn how to play the banjo, and we're gonna, record it live, and I feel like it would have been not really true to his aesthetic if they had done, lip syncing or something like that.
Yeah, it's
But
like a really unique tone it strikes, because at once nothing is false, but everything is fake.
right, right,
So
right.
there isn't a single false note, but at the same time, everything's fake. None of these people are actual folk bands, but you believe that they are. And I
Yeah,
think it's in the same way that you believe Spinal Tap is an actual British heavy metal band, and
right,
they've kind of been accepted into music as being a pretty legitimate band. So there's almost like a line that gets erased.
right.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a spoiler, but in Spinal Tap, they show them playing like Glastonbury and Live
Mhm.
Earth, and these are things that actually happened,
Yeah.
and and it wasn't as a joke. I mean, obviously, bringing what 20 bassists on stage for Big Bottoms is a joke, but the appearance of Spinal Tap at these festivals was like. It wasn't just like, oh, here's 30 minutes of fun. It's like, no,
Yeah,
we booked Spinal Tap because people want to see Spinal Tap.
right, exactly.
So we have a new section here in Soundtrack Your Life, and it's a podcast about soundtracks. We want to know how you would soundtrack the movie of your life. So Rhea, let's go through your track listing for your movie.
Okay.
What song are you picking for your action scene, and what's happening in your action scene?
My action scene, I think it would be the Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine.
Nice.
Mm.
And I feel like it would be I'm a really big I'm a big James Bond fan. And so it wouldn't be it's not like I would be James Bond, but I feel like it would be like I would be in some sort of spy scenario, but that would be the song that would be playing during the big climactic spy chase, whatever,
Right,
uh,
you're jumping over rooftops
exactly. Yep. That's
somewhere.
that's what I would.
Bravo.
Yep. That's how I would envision it. So
Okay, love that for you. And what's happening in your romantic scene? And some people interpret this as like, I don't know, it's a romantic scene. Some people are like, I want a full-blown sex scene. So you
I'm
decide.
I think I'm keeping it very sweet. I was Give a Little Bit by Supertramp, just a very simple. I'm in a Mitch and Mickey mood. I don't know. I feel like I'm keeping it very pure there with that. But yeah, just like simple love scene sort of thing. Simple. Maybe I mean it feels kind of like a rom-com sort of scenario. I feel like it would be one of those like running to meet each other in the middle of New York City at a certain time because time's running out or whatever, and that would be the song.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I like that. I feel like that has nice chemistry with Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine also.
yeah.
So, all right. So finally, what is going on and what is the song for your montage scene? And this can be a makeover montage, a shopping montage, What is your montage scene?
This was a fun one for me to think about because I was like, what would actually make sense in terms of, and then, and I was like, I was like on Spotify. I was like, well, what comes to my head? Do you know that song Grace Kelly by that guy Mika? If
Oh,
you,
it's so
Oh,
familiar to me.
yeah,
You know what? I
it
can't think
sounds
of it,
like
but I know it.
he
I'm just
sounds
like,
like Freddie Mercury. He references Freddie Mercury in the song. His voice, he has kind of a Freddie Mercury quality. It sounds almost like it could be a Queen song. But it's just like the lyrics are like, I could be mean, I could be sweet, I could be whatever, blah. And there's something just very kind of peppy about that. And it's like it's a cool song. And I feel like that would be, I don't know if it would be a makeover montage or if it would be just like a self-improvement montage or like I'm training for a marathon I don't know. I'm a runner. So I'm like, I don't know what it would be, but
yeah,
it feels like that would
20K.
be, yeah, that would be the score of like, I could be so many things. And, you're seeing all the many things that I could be. So that would be, those are my three.
Awesome. Well, thank you for playing 3 tracks and music supervising your own life. Love those.
yeah. So thank you, Reeya, for being on our podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's nice to talk to people who love this movie as much as I do, because sometimes I'm just talking about it and people are like, yeah, we know you like this movie. Okay. We get it.
Please stop.
Yeah.
No, we're real guest heads over here.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for being part of our week of guesting.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Check out Reeya's album, This Place. You can get it digitally. You can go to her Bandcamp and support her that way.
Mhm.
We'll also put socials in the show notes. Reeya, where is the best way to find you if people want to follow you
Um,
and what you're up to?
the best way to find me probably at this point is Instagram. I seem to be doing most of my stuff on there. So I'm at Reeya B Music on Instagram. And then also I have music videos and other little silly. I post rehearsal footage and stuff like that on my YouTube channel, and that's at Reeya Rex, which is, I don't know why, but Reeya Rex, ReyaRex. And so that's fun because I've just got a lot of behind the scenes rehearsal hijinks. So if people are into that sort of, you know, behind the music sort of stuff, that my band is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in our rehearsals. So yeah, between Instagram and YouTube, you'll kind of get a full spectrum of what I'm up to on a daily basis. And then just generally, my website is just a good repository for everything coming up. Although I do, as I said before, I do need to do some updating. But generally that's also a good kind of one-stop shop. But yeah, I would say in the next 10 minutes, go to Instagram. You'll probably you'll see that I've posted something. So
Very cool. We'll put those links in our show notes. So if you don't want to have to write that stuff down, you can just go to the show description and you can get access to Reeya. You can find us on Instagram as well, SoundtrackCast, and we are on Blue Sky at soundtrackyourlife.net, and Patreon, patreon.com/soundtrackyourlife. But thanks again, Reeya. It was really nice to meet you. I think the record is great.
thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
And
good to
thank
like
you
it.
for bringing us this wonderful movie to talk about.
Thank you for talking about it with me, because otherwise I'd just be bothering other people with it.
Feel free to bother us with
Yeah. Now you can just send them this.
Yeah, exactly. This is true.